So are aliens real? I think there's a general consensus that
Yes.
aliens are real, and mathematically speaking, the size of the universe in which we live, there's got to be more life out there.
Yeah. Hell yeah, for sure. So I think they're just, like you said, the government stuff came out just to say, yeah, they're pretty much admitting that they're aliens. But I think just in general, there's always been, signs that they have been. And, I think a lot of people have already assumed so. But this just kind of backs up a lot of some of the credence out there, right? So these people. So a couple of documentaries I watched, and the one that you recommended, the fifth kind, right?
The Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind with Dr. Steven Greer. Highly recommend it. He has a few shows out, Unacknowledged, Disclosure.
Yeah.
They all kind of follow the same theme of, hey, here's all these intelligence community officials, high-up-ranking officers that are coming forward as whistleblowers with evidence. And, now that we passed the Freedom of Whatever Act, where we can see all the secret things that have been happening over the years, it's in plain sight. Like, the government knows that they exist. They've known for a very long time. There's evidence that we've downed alien spacecraft and actually have been reverse engineering it. And so the technology in which we have, it makes sense too that the government will be hush-hush because we don't want our adversaries to know what technology we have and whatnot. So
that's what they talked about, keeping, we don't want to let Russia or China or we want to hide our own stuff. But then there have been times where they've been open, kind of talking to each other about it. So it's kind of interesting with just the interaction it would be, and to actually see the actual interaction, what was exchanged, right? Because there was that in the Greer documentary you mentioned, is that they had the world leaders. Remember that he met the prime minister or somebody of one of the countries. I forgot what it was, and he mentioned that they were back when George Bush Sr. was president, that they were all gonna get together and disclose it, and then one of them got abducted. Right.
At least two people that.
I know. I think it was one person that got abducted, but they threatened him. They said, "Hey, if you guys go forward with this, more people, including President Bush, would be abducted." And then after that, they just didn't do it. So I don't know. I think there's another other documentary I watched as well about it.
Well, just to make sure you guys know, when we say abducted in the documentary, Steven Greer is admitting to us that he knows about these other secret programs, that we have the technology and the ability to fake an abduction with real life looking aliens and whatnot, and all
some
the
of
spacecraft and everything.
Some of those reversed because they've had I think it's Aurora, the ship's called Aurora, or it's Project Aurora, where it's like that, where a lot of people see is the three lights, right?
Oh yeah,
and it's that triangle. That's actually with governments.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and they've sent it out. They've said to Berlin, and like you mentioned, these abductions happen, right? So it's kind of out there as well. So like you said, that's the kind of, like you said, the abductions we're talking about is government abducted, or these secret services or secret agencies doing these abductions, right? So to cover up.
What I've really gotten into, though, not so much just so for me to be okay, Steven Greer's telling me aliens exist. There's all this really cool stuff. Can we look at history, or is there any more evidence in this world that supports it? And you can look back at all these ancient civilizations. If you look at religious texts, doesn't matter which one, you can see in the Book of Enoch, it's literally the first-hand encounter of the very first alien abduction of the third kind, or a close encounter of the third kind, where he actually boards a spacecraft, and he details it in detail. And then you look at Egypt, Peru, the Mayans, the Incas, and they're finding more and more of these pyramids around the world that just so happen to be on these energetic lines, and there's a lot more there that I think the government, why they're hiding it and why they don't want to disclose it, is because the technology that ancient civilizations have known for years would open up our entire world to free energy. And how would that impact the world, right? When we don't need...
Well, I also think it's also an ace in their pocket, right? In case they ever, if these people who are, because again, when we say government, it's not just government. It's not really government. The president of the United States is not going to know this stuff, right?
Yeah,
it's
informed.
We're not even probably informed. A guy probably walks in his office hey, you ain't going to do shit. Do not release none of this stuff, or XX is going to happen, right? Because think about it. If this stuff, if the president actually had access to this, I think Trump would have threw that shit out.
I think Clinton wanted to bad, but I thought it was funny. He mentioned on the documentary a president is a temporary employee.
That's what I'm saying.
And so he
4 years to 8 years, right?
Cannot know.
Yeah.
And so
the Kennedys, weren't they part of it too?
they were part of it too. They were going to disclose, and there's a big conspiracy around. That's why because Marilyn Monroe was part of that too, and her being assassinated. So there's a dark history.
Yeah.
I think it's always great to have like patriotism and whatnot and support your country, but I don't know. I think it's a double-edged sword there when you give blind patriotism and whatnot. It's
for the better of the country.
Yeah, there's a lot there that we got to be able to discern and be able to hold our country to the highest standard that we believe in, and not look away when something benefits us. And
well, I think that goes back to, like I said, this secret was it secret agent? Who are these people that they said what do they call them? Like the secret?
They're whistleblowers, but they're like high ranking officers in the intelligence community.
No, like the people who are like running this in the background right now.
Oh,
right?
it's like a true like deep state dark program.
So and a lot of these are again like whenever like these aliens are downed and their stuff's found, like the government themselves are using like the 5 companies or whatever that are in the industrial complex, right? Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, and all them, right? And they know what they have those parts, and they're trying to reverse engineer that shit right now. So and then they have the power of having that stuff, and they want to keep the power of having this stuff, right? So and they're getting money to do this for the government, right? So everybody's getting paid, and then or this deep state is getting is handing out the money for it, and they have the ace in the back pocket now, like you said. If they ever start losing control, if like America kind of wakes up on some of the stuff, they can always fake like an alien invasion where it's like, all right, they can like, just follow the government again and we'll protect you, right? It's kind of an ace in the sleeve, I think, kind of for them too.
And well, like the government has done that historically with terrorists. There's always a false flag event of some sort of boogeyman that allows us to just give unlimited funds to the government, and even if we don't give them the funds, they still grab them by suddenly, Donald Rumsfeld, previous Secretary of State, lost billions of dollars. The Pentagon did, and then it just went away. Actually, no, 9/11 happened. So like we've literally spent hundreds of billions of dollars in these programs that we don't know where the funds are going and whatnot, and so it begs the question, like, what do we have? What really is out there, and if anyway. No,
I 100% agree with that, and it's just crazy. But like going back to the point where you were making before about this is, like I said, this deep state kind of has knowledge. They're kind of running things. They've done these fake kind of abductions and stuff like that. But same time, there are real aliens out there, that have done abductions or have been, the abductions have done.